Okay, guys, so your assignment for today is to put the excavator together. You can take a look down here on the tab for Q1 of what it looks like when fully assembled. That you've got your base, you've got the boom, which is this gray part, the bucket, which is obviously the bucket looking thing, 3 copies of the shaft and sleeve, we'll talk about that in a second, and 1 copy of the stick. That is all available for you here in Part Studio 1, even though you can't see any of the parts, because they're just hidden. So the bucket is right there, the stick there, the boom, and then the base. So they are all there in Part Studio 1. You're just going to go up top and insert those assembly parts as you need to. The one thing that's a little awkward is the sleeve and shaft. And that's because here on page 3 of the Q1 document, you can see that the sleeve and shaft are connected with a slider mate. Go, connect to each other. But there's a limit. There's a maximum amount that it can go. A max stroke here of 850 millimeters. The weird part, I shouldn't say weird part, but the awkward part here is that the units of this project, because these are large parts, is actually in meter. So we're going to use 0.85 millimeter, 0.85 meter to represent 850 millimeters. So the one thing I want to show you here on this video is to how to mate the sleeve and the shaft together with the slider mate. And the rest of it is kind of up to you. So I'm going to go up top, click on insert. I'm going to insert 1 copy of the sleeve, and then insert 1 copy of the shaft. Then I'm going to turn on the front view, and I am going to right click on the sleeve and choose section view. Now the one thing about this section view, you can see the section view is going to go at the very, very end where the cylinder portion ends, and you have a little bit of a triangular shape, which I'll catch on a little bit of zoom in right there. So we are going to set up a slider mate. I'm going to choose the end of the shaft, that kind of like cylinder there. You can rotate around and see it'll highlight that. But so we want the end of the cylinder. Don't get the cone portion here. And then after I have that selected, I can right click on the sleeve and turn off the section view. I am then going to mate that with, move out of the way, the end of my shaft. Click. They should be mated together. We can press check. Then I need to make sure that the limits go in the right direction. To do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to temporarily lock in the sleeve. So I'm going to right click on the sleeve and choose to fix it. I'm going to get an error message, and that's okay. That's just because the base is fixed. But what it does is it allows me to move the shaft without messing with the sleeve. So now back to the slider mate to set off limits. And depending on which order and which of the mates you clicked first, you're going to either need a minimum of negative 0.85 and a maximum of 0. Which I think is the way, if you followed along, it's done for me. So now I can slide and it will come out, but not all the way, and it will not go into itself. If you flip the direction of those two mates, like if you wound up for some reason having the shaft first and then your sleeve second, then you're going to flip the direction of your limits. That the minimum is going to be 0 and the maximum is going to be 0.85. And now at that point, it will go in. Obviously, it's going in the wrong direction in my case. So I'm going to go back, swap it into the right order, at least for me. So it's just a matter of figuring out which order looks proper for you. And that all comes down to which order you made the mate connectors. That didn't change that. Hold on. Yes, it did. All right, so I'll test one more time. Cool, great, works good. That means I now can turn off that fixed portion of the sleeve. And it's fine if it slides around. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select a box around my sleeve shaft combination, Control C on my keyboard to copy it, and paste 2 more copies of it. That allows me to use this sleeve shaft combination when I am putting all of my mates together to go around the part. So it even gives you, the main view. You should be able to kind of see where everything is if you zoom in a little bit. I can kind of tell, like, it's gray on the bottom, green on top. If you really, really are struggling to see that, it will give you a zoom in on whether or not the green or the gray part connects to each of the individual parts. So that's it. Go ahead and make that full assembly. I'll kind of recap that quickly tomorrow, assuming I'm in there. All right, good luck with it, guys.